Hello, receiving teachers and students. Thank you. You may take your seat. Now, as part of our recapping exercise class, I'd like you to do this recap exercise where you will estimate the divisor and dividend for this division. Once you get your estimation, I'd like you to divide. I'll give you only 2 minutes to do your working out. And we will have someone to come up to the board and do your working out. All right, 2 minutes is up. From the receiving end, I'd like one student to come up to the front and do your division on the board. So your teacher in the classroom will select you. All right, thank you. Now from the model class, we will have Ken. Thank you. Ken, I'd like you to do your working out on the whiteboard there. And class, I'd like you to watch Ken carefully as he outlines his working out on the whiteboard. Complete? All right. What do you others think? Okay, receiving student, are you finished? All right, thank you. Now, I'd like you to explain how you got 40, Ken. Receiving student, please explain to the class. How did you get 40, or what did you do to get 40 as your estimate for the divisor?
I used 6 to get 40 from 36.
Okay, you used 6 to get
40.
40. What did you do to 6?
6 is greater than 5, that's why I tended to 40.
All right, 6 is greater than 5. Very good. He says 6 is greater than 5. That's why he... What did you do to 40? You added it to 40. What did you say?
6 is greater than 5, that's why I changed 36 to 40.
All right. Very good. What do you others think? All right, one more. One more question. Why did you get 400 as your dividend?
Because 428, 2 is less than 5, that's why I left it as, I changed it to 400.
All right, very good. Thank you. Now, we'll have one from the girls to explain. Let's have Lorraine. Let's have Lorraine. What do you think about Ken's answer? Receiving student, I'd like you to just do a quick discussion, just 30 seconds on this.
I think that Ken's answer is correct.
All right. Thank you. What about you others? You believe his answer is correct, or you think his answer is correct, or you don't know? Receiving student? It's correct. All right. Now, 6 is greater than 5, so he changed it to 40, meaning that what's another word we can use to say changed it to 40? What was he doing? What were you doing when you were changing it to 40? Or what was Ken doing when he was changing it to 40? Yes, Robert? Yes, receiving student? You were doing something. What were you doing? Or what was Ken doing? Or what were you doing as you were writing your answer on the board?
Estimating.
Very good. You were estimating, but what were you estimating to? What were you estimating to? When Ken changed the divisor to 40, what was he estimating to? Receiving student. Can someone tell me what he was estimating there? Yes or? Yes, receiving student?
By rounding.
All right, he was rounding, but what was he estimating to? Can you put your thinking caps on so you can give me the right answer? Yes? Let's have Rudolph.
Estimating figures.
You were estimating figures. Yes, you are correct. You were estimating figures, but you were estimating figures to what? Receiving student. Yes, Rodney.
Nearest 10.
You were estimating to the nearest 10. Very good. But there is one word I'm looking for from your previous lessons. You had 4 lessons on this, and I believe you should give me the term. What were you estimating to? When you were estimating sums, when you were estimating differences, when you were estimating products, and when you were estimating divisions, which is the one that Ken has displayed the working out on, you were estimating to something. Yes, Emmanuel?
Estimating to find a quotient.
Okay, you were estimating to find a quotient, yes? You were estimating to find a quotient, as we have here. 10 is the quotient, so 10 times 40 will be 400. But my question is, when 36, have a look carefully, when 36 is changed to 40, this number that is changed to something, and 428 to be changed to 400, you are changing to something, or you are estimating to something. All right? You are estimating to one significant figure. All right? We had Rudolph, was it, who gave us estimating to figures, but you are estimating to how many figures? Only one significant figure. For example, 40, how many digits there? You have two digits, but which one is the counting number from 1 to 10? Which number is the counting number between 1 to 10? You are to disregard the 0. So which one is a number between 1 to 10? 4. Thank you, Ken. Very good. In your previous lesson, you were learning about estimating sums, differences, products, divisions to one significant figure. In this lesson today, we will be looking at understanding rounding or understanding more on rounding. Let me take you through what we will be doing in our learning activity. Now, class, I'd like you to get yourselves into 3 groups. Receiving teacher, please help them get themselves into 3 groups. Once they get into their 3 groups, I'd like you to distribute charts to them, like the one I have on the whiteboard. If you don't have charts in the classroom, I'd like you to draw 3 timelines on the blackboard, divide the blackboard into 3 parts, and draw 3 timelines for each group. Now, receiving teacher, you divide the board into 3 parts and have the first group to have one part of the board to have their timeline drawn as shown on the chart. I'd like the chart to have the scale. They will decide on the scale, but have it exactly like what I have on the whiteboard. All right? Once they have drawn their timeline, I'd like them to find the halfway mark on the number line. Which is the halfway mark on the number line? And you mark it with an arrow. Once you have marked the halfway of the number line, you now label which part is the right side of the halfway of the number line and which side is the left side. Once you get the halfway of the number line, you are able to decide which is the left and which is the right when you're facing your number line. All right, as soon as you finish that, group one, I'd like you to work on this learning activity. You are going to round off 47 to the nearest 10. You do your working out first, then later you will do learning activity 2, which I will show you later. Group 1, learning activity 2, you are going to, once you get your, once you round off to the nearest 10, I'd like you to work on your number line. You are going to write the numbers 40 to 50 on the number line. Make sure you know where 40 will be placed on the number line and 50. You're going to work that out in your group. Group 2, you are going to round off 326 to the nearest 100. When you finish rounding off, you're going to write numbers 300 to 400 on the number line. Make sure you know where to, make sure you discuss in your group where to place the correct numbers or where to write the correct numbers on the number line. Are you clear with your instruction? And group 3, you're going to round off 2,745 to the nearest 1,000. Once you finish rounding off to the nearest 1,000, you work on your number line where you will write numbers 2,000 to 3,000 on the number line. So receiving students, I'd like you to now work on your number line as well as round off your numbers that I have distributed to you. So each group will work on rounding off one figure. Any questions? So receiving teacher, if they have any questions, I'd like you to assist them and guide them as they are doing their learning activity. You have only 5 minutes to work on your learning activity, and I will stop you, we will discuss, and we'll move on to our exercise. You can start. If you have any questions, you can ask me, or otherwise I'd like you to discuss in your groups. Receiving students, please discuss as a group and come up with something. Start working together. All right. I think you're finished now with your answers. Let's start from the first exercise task. Group 1, round off 47 to the nearest 10. Can we have Vanessa to come up to the board and do your working out? Leave the timeline alone. Don't worry about the timeline, but you work out your answer. What is 47 rounded off to the nearest 10? Group 2 will have Samuel to answer for group 2. Round off 326 to the nearest 100. And finally, we have group 3. Let's have Uval to answer what is 2,745 rounded off to the nearest 1,000. All right, we have 3 students from the receiving class and 3 students from the model class, and we compare our answers. Sorry, go ahead with what. Group 3, Uval. What group number is that? Just put your number at the side, please. All right, thank you. Now, let's have group 1 to explain the answer.
7 is greater than 5, so we rounded it off to 50.
All right, 7 is greater than 5. That's why you rounded it off to 50. Why did you look at 7? Why did you look at 7 to round off? Receiving student, why? If your answer is 7, you looked at 7 because 7 says 7 is more than 5. You rounded off. But why did you look at 7 to round off? Just give us your explanation.
Because we are rounding it off to 10.
Because you're rounding off to 10. You're rounding off to 10 and nearest 10, and you are looking at which column? You are looking at the second column. What is the second column?
7.
7. All right, thank you, group 1. Group 2. Okay, group 2, what's your explanation?
Because 26 is lesser than 50.
Come again?
Less than 50. Because 26 is less than 50, so we round it to the nearest 100.
Okay, because 26 is
Less than 50.
less than 50, so you rounded off to the,
Nearest 100.
did you round up or round down?
Round down.
Round down. All right, thank you very much. All right, we'll accept that. We'll go to the last group, and then we'll come back to this group. Uval, why did you come up with 3,000? Or how did you come up with your answer as 3,000?
Because 745 is more than 500. That's why we wrote 3,000.
All right, thank you. Because 745 is greater than 500, you rounded off to 3,000. All right? All those answers that you have given, they're all correct in a way. But let me just go through what you have learned in one of your previous lessons. I can see that some of you are forgetting. How many digits can you see in 47, Robert? How many digits, receiving student, in our first question? Robert, how many digits or how many figures?
2.
2, and they are, class, what are they? Class? 4 and 7. Now, what is the place value of 7? Ashanti. Receiving student, from the receiving end, what is the place value of 7? You shouldn't forget. You should know. You should know by now.
Once.
Once. Give her 2 big claps. All right, receiving end, if you had once, what is another word that can also mean once? Receiving students? Yes? Emmanuel?
Units.
Units. Give 1 big clap to Emmanuel. All right. Thank you. Rudolph, 1 big clap. All right. So we have 7 units and 4 is under which column, or what is the place value of 4? Tens. And the question says you are to round off to the nearest 10. When you're rounding off to the nearest 10, you are to look at the second number like what Vanessa said. You have to look at the second number, and the second number to the tens will be the number under the units column, because you are trying to round to the nearest tens. So you look at units. Is it greater than 5? Or is it less than 5? 7 is less than 5. 7 is less than 5 or more than 5? More than 5, so you round off to the nearest 50. Are they correct? So how do you round off? 7? What do you do with, how did you get 5? Can someone explain to us how you got 5? Laka?
By adding 1 to 4.
Let's give 5 big claps to Laka. Excellent. By adding 1 to 4, because 7 says round up to the nearest 10, you now add 1 to 4 and 7 becomes 0. The number after the first digit becomes, the 1 is added on to 4, which becomes 5, and the number after the 7 becomes 0. Let's look at the next one. 6. What is the place value of 6? What is the place value of 6? Units. What is the place value of 2? Tens. What is the place value of What is the place value of 3? I gave the answer. Hundreds. Thank you. Okay. Samuel told us that because 26 is less than 50, they rounded down to 300. Another way, which is also correct, another way to get the answer would be, we're rounding off to the nearest 100, so which column do we look at to round off to the nearest 100? We look at the tens, and the tens is also on the second. Thank you, Robert. It's also the second number to the first digit. You are forgetting. Please don't forget, this is very important. So 2, let's look at 2. Is it greater than 5 or less than 5? Less than 5, so what do we do? Yes, Rodney, what's the answer?
Down to nearest.
Round down to the
Nearest.
nearest what?
10. Hundreds.
Nearest 100, okay? Now, so what will happen to the number? Can you explain? Receiving student? Anna Lolo? How do we explain how how Samuel has his tree? How did Samuel get the tree? There.
2 is less than 5, so 3 remains as it is.
All right? Excellent. Let's give one big clap to Anna Lolo. Receiving student, if you also got that answer, very good to you. Now, that is the kind of explanation we are looking for. So please, you will see that because 2 is less than 5, 3 will remain as it is. And what will change? Any number that falls after the first figure will change to 0. All right, thank you very much. Let's look at the last one. 5 is under what place value? What is the place value of 5? Units. What is the place value of 4? Class, what is the place value of 4? Tens. What is the place value of 7? Hundreds. And what is the place value of 2? Thousands. All right, thank you. Now we are to round off to the nearest 1,000. And Uval gave our explanation as because 745 is greater than 500, he rounded up to 3,000, which is correct. What is another way we can round off? Michaeline? What is another way where we can round off? Uval's way is one way. What is another way? What number do I look at, or what number do we look at to round off?
The second number.
All right, we look at the second number. What is the second number?
7.
And what is it under? Which column?
Hundreds.
100. So if you want to round off to the nearest 1,000, you will look at the hundreds column, which is the second number. And 7 is less than 5 or greater than 5? Greater than 5. So you will round up by adding 1 to the first digit, which is 2, to make it 3. And the rest of the numbers that fall after the first digit become 0. That's how we got 3,000. So receiving student, did you get what we just went through? So if you also have that answer, give yourself a tick. Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3, can we have your charts on the board? Let's have Evan to bring Group 2 chart, paste it on the board, or bring Group 1's chart, and Group 3, can we have your chart on the front? Work on your timeline. If you have finished placing your timeline, I'd like you to now have it where everybody can see. Group 1, I'd like you to come up to the board. I'd like you to come up to the board and place the number you were rounding off, which is 47, on the timeline. On the number line. Group 1, let's have Alison to do that. Alison? Group 2? Alison, I'd like you to circle. Place the 47 on the number line. Sorry, yours, you just circle 47. Circle 47. Group 2, can you go and place where 326 will fall in on the number line? Get your glue and go and glue it on the front. That's okay, you will learn from your mistake. It's okay, just place that number here. So Tyron, can you place that on the chart, please? Help him. Someone go help him. thank you. Now I'd like you to know, this is another way where you can find this is another way where you can round up to the nearest 10, hundreds, or thousands. So let's look at the nearest 10. Now you can see that the halfway mark is here. That's why they have the red arrow pointed here. Then they have the left side and the right side, and 47 is here. Group 3, are you listening? Because the question will come to you. Tyrone, 47 is near to 40 or 50?
50.
All right, very good. You can see that from this number line, 47 is near 50. That's why 47, when you round it up to the nearest 10, it is 50 because it's closer to 50 on the number line. Let's look at the next one, 526. Let's have group 1. Nora, group 1, 526. Is it closer to 500 or is it closer to 600? Sam, are you concentrating? Sam, the next question will be yours. So, receiving student, I'd like you to see. Nora?
500.
It's closer to 500. That's why when you round 526 to the nearest 100, it is 500 because it is closer to 500 than 600. Sam, let's look at your timeline. 2,745. Is it closer to 2,000 or is it closer to 3,000? Sam? Receiving student, watch carefully, give your answer to your teacher. Teacher, you correct as they give the answers. Yes, Sam?
3,000.
Again?
3,000.
3,000. Excellent. 2,745 is closer to 3,000. That's why when you round it off, it will be 3,000. Are you clear with that? Now, for your exercise, you're going to do it as homework. So, you only have 3 questions for homework. You're going to round off numbers to the nearest 10, which is 16, 100, 613, 1,000. You're going to look at 1,229. All right, thank you. Our summary for this lesson: when rounding off numbers to the nearest 10, hundreds, or thousands is the same as estimating figures to one significant figure. Our key phrase for this lesson is rounding off to one significant figure. Next lesson topic will be rounding money amounts. So in our next lesson, I'd like us to bring some coins or some notes. We may use those in our next lesson. With that, thank you very much, class, for participating in this lesson.